All right. Now, last Monday, I mentioned that I'm going to speak about some development of this Mettā Jhāna. And also, this is also one of the talks during in the Mettā Bhavana that I spoke about it a little bit, but I didn't go deep into it. So I thought that today, after all this Mettā Bhavana thing, then I think it's good to go at least go a little bit deeper and see what we can do about this whole samata meditation, not just only metta. Just go back to one of the talks. Okay, let me go back to one of the talks. Okay. You all see the progress of the Mettā Bhavana? Okay, yeah. Now this is one of the talks that we are looking, that we spoke about it, that how you begin from a beginner. Then there's preliminary concentration. Then after that, you go through some development. Then there will be excess concentration or upachara samadhi. Then after that, you have fixed concentration or apana samadhi. That once you got this fixed concentration or absorption concentration, then we go through the first jhana and second jhana or third jhana later on. Huh? So this is something that we look into it. So we'll see that the hindrances also getting less. From 5 hindrances get very little or no hindrances until you have 0 hindrances. And then at the opposite part is your 5 faculties become stronger over time, and then it become very well developed and well balanced. This is where generally we talk about it. Now, what I'm going to do tonight is that I'm going to look into this first jhana here, this particular junction here, this particular junction, and we're going to expand on it because it is important for us to know. I think it's important for you all to know too. Although tonight you may not able to grab all of it, agak lah, you know. At least, okay, let me stop sharing this one. Okay, then let me share another one. Okay, let me close this one. Now, let me share again. All right. Okay, can you all see again? Now this one is slightly different. Now here, I said I'm going to talk about it a little bit more. So I circled here, and I'm going to expand this part here. And then because at this part here, it is where we're going to look into the jhana. Now before we going to look into it a little bit more, one of the reasons that I want to talk about it, about this talk, is that definitely when you go into Dharma talks, that over the years, you will hear monks talk about jhana, layperson talk about jhana, this Ajahn talk about jhana, this Longpo talk about jhana, this Sayadaw talk about jhana. I talk about jhana, he talk about jhana, they talk about jhana. So are they talking the same thing or are they talking the different thing? Are they actually mean the same thing or actually they mean a different thing? It may mean conceptually, that means you study one or you study one, it may mean the same thing. But when it comes to experience-wise, it may mean different thing. It may mean different thing. Let me share the example. During the Mettā Bhavana session, in the practice and so on. Now, some of us perhaps that has gone into a very quiet state of mind. The metta is like not flowing, not continuous, quiet, and so on. Is that stage jhana? You may practice also in a certain mental development. Perhaps you're going through anapanasati. And then after that, you meditate after some years, let's say, you know. And then after that, you go into a mind is very quiet, very calm, very peaceful. Then you come out from it. So is that jhana? Again. So again here, many people can interpret that these are jhanas. They interpret, oh, I've seen this, I've seen the very calm state of mind and very beautiful state of mind, therefore it's jhana. Or is it? Or is so here, if you're a meditator, this jhana thing or nibbana thing, I mean, is that is what your interest is, isn't it? Because finally we want to develop and reach a certain goal. That is understandable. And that is understandable. And this is good also because you have a direction, a clear direction. So in samatha, there is where we reach until jhana. And of course you can go further than that. But is it that what the type of jhana that everybody is talking about? No, I wouldn't say everybody. I said when you listen to the Dhamma talk, when you listen to all these talks, are they the same or not? Now, for all the suttas and so on, Buddha mentioned about jhanas. Very true. But the thing is that the Buddha did not mention the specific part of the jhana. And this is being elaborated by the Abhidhamma. Elaborated by the Abhidhamma. And Abhidhamma gave a very specific way of how, when a jhana is achieved, and how you enter into a jhana, what's happened in the jhana, how you come out from the jhana. It's very specifically mentioned. But then again, of course, there are some people who doubt the Abhidhamma, whether it is authentic or not, and so on, you know. Sometimes they only have Dvit Pitaka only, double basket only. The Tipitaka, no. There are certain monks are like that. There are certain lay people also like that. You know, they completely disregard Abhidhamma. No. But the problem, one of the problem of Abhidhamma is because it is I would say it's very deep for some people. It's very deep for some people, and it's difficult for some people. For most people, I would say. Some people can take it. Some people can grasp this concept very clearly, but concept is one thing, experience-wise is totally another thing. And that is where vipassana will be very important here. But nevertheless, we're back to Mettā again. So, in Abhidhamma, it mentioned very specifically how jhana is being achieved. Okay, now let us go back to the screen sharing again. Okay. Now, here, beginning and until the first jhana, you got preliminary concentration, excess concentration, fixed concentration. So now you're going to change from an excess concentration to a fixed concentration. Then this is what will happen. Initial development of jhana. Okay. Let me go through. There's a lot of words here. After that, don't get too afraid, you know. Don't lari yet. Stay. Cool. Now, this one, in the initial development of jhana, if one we call an average faculty and one is called a keen faculty. Average faculties, that means that your 5 aggregates are average, but average means you still can attain jhana, means still holy already, you know. Doesn't mean that you are average, but because it is comparable to, there's another group, small group of people or meditator is called a keen faculty, and all their faculties are very sharp, especially the wisdom faculty. Yeah? The wisdom faculty. Now, let's take an average faculty will do. Yeah? So, here, the B here, let me go a bit wider, a bit bigger in this one. Okay. Now, here, the B here is called the Bhavanga consciousness. V is called a vibrating, and A is the arresting Bhavanga. Now, what happened? This is the first time you enter Jhana. You practice, and then it's the first time you're going to enter into a Jhana. Initial development of Jhana. Okay? Then later part, we're going to look into the subsequent. That means once you're able to attain Jhana, then how are you going to attain it again and again? That also later part I'm going to talk about it. But initially, why we're going to look into it is that there is a number of special consciousness. We call it this process, a mental process. Process here means one consciousness after another consciousness, after another consciousness, after another, after another, after another. Then it comes to a Jhana consciousness. Okay, so this is called a mental process that's going through. Now, in this mental process thing, there's a number of names that some of you may not be familiar. That's called a Bhavanga, that's called a vibrating, and that's called an arresting Bhavanga. Before this B, before this first B here, this is what happened, This is where your may all beings, let's say, may all beings be well and happy, be peaceful, and then by the time your mind is very quiet and the Mettā is still going on, and then that time also no hindrances is going on, and then your mind is, the faculties is at the tip-top condition already. Your faculties at the tip-top condition, your hindrances are at zero level right now, nothing, and then your Mettā is still very clearly, very smooth. There's no fluctuation and so on. So that time, let's say you are matured in that radiating of the Mettā. So before the B, this is what happened to your mind, Okay? This is what happened to your mind. And then when you are ready for the Jhana, that is where it comes to a called a Bhavanga. It reduced to a Bhavanga consciousness, vibrating consciousness, and arresting Bhavanga, a Bhavanga consciousness. What I mean by this arresting is that it stopped all the radiation of all your Mettā thing and so on already. Yeah, that means it stopped what it means also, it stops all the sensuous consciousness. Because when we are radiating Mettā, we are still using what we call sensual consciousness. We are still using this sensual consciousness, hearing and seeing and thinking and so on. All these are sensual consciousness that we are going through. So when it comes to this arresting Bhavanga, it stops. Let's call it arrest, It arrests that consciousness. Then after that, then it starts with a new Jhana mental process. It starts with a new Jhana mental process. Now here, the first consciousness it comes up, it's called the mind door adverting consciousness. The one I purposely make it highlight, not the highlight, I make it bold and also bigger font from the M onwards, comparatively to the Bhavanga consciousness, the B, V, and A, comparative to the Bhavanga consciousness, this M consciousness and so on will be a much clearer consciousness comparatively to the Bhavanga consciousness. Okay, it's a much clearer consciousness. Clearer consciousness in a sense that the mind is really super clear, that time. Is exceptionally clear. So when it's exceptionally clear, it will go through a series of consciousness. So the first one is called the mind door adverting consciousness. Then you have preparation consciousness. You have access consciousness, and then you have conformity consciousness. You have change of lineage. Then you have Jhana consciousness. Then after that, the Jhana consciousness, it drops into Bhavanga again. Then after this Bhavanga, you start again with may all beings be free from harm and danger. May all beings be free. So, in the beginning part, initial development of Jhana is a very short process only. It's a very short process. You're not able to go into like sitting for hours and hours and hours, and that one is not yet. This one is the initial development. So after you come out from that Bhavanga, you start again with may all beings be free from harm and danger and so on. Okay? All right. Now, let us go through the consciousness a little bit. Don't worry about what is mind door or preparation consciousness, access consciousness, conformity consciousness. What are you going to see when you go through all these things? It's just that you see consciousness arising, passing away, arising, passing away, arising, passing away, arising, passing away. There's no such thing as like when you sit down there, oh, suddenly there's mind or adverting consciousness come out. Yeah, just a name in order to teach you, in order to show you there's a different consciousness. But actually, when you are looking into it, when you are going through the process, there's no name. It's just only consciousness arising, passing away, arising, passing away, arising, passing away. Although I say arising and passing away here, you are not seeing anicca, dukkha, anatta at all. It's just consciousness, that different consciousness that comes and go, come and go. So here in this mind or adventing consciousness and so on, this one you don't have to worry. What is the next one? Is called the change of lineage. The change of lineage, also we use the word change of lineage here in the vipassana also, when the process of from let's say you are from Puthujjana to a Sotapanna, then there's also a change of lineage. What lineage does you are changing? You're changing from a worldling to a noble lineage. They give it a name only, they give it a name. But if you are from samata, this one, then what change of lineage are you in? Then it's the same thing. This is from a central to a sublime consciousness, rupa vachara lineage, to a more fine material consciousness. And so it's different in a sense of, in terms of realm of existence, they are also already different. So here you are changing from a central to become a fine material consciousness. So after that change of lineage, if the first time we call it the change of lineage, after that is only a single jhanic consciousness only. A single jhana consciousness. After that, you drop into bhavanga. After that, you come out from that jhana process. You already go into may all beings be free from harm and danger. You start all over again. So here it is something like that. Quite, in a way, simple. In a way, simple. So this consciousness here, they are very clear consciousness. But whether that people or monks or teachers and so on have seen all this consciousness or not, that's all another thing altogether. That'll be whether they've seen it or not. I have no idea. Most of the time, when a yogi that pass through, they says that they have jhana and so on. When I listen to their report, it's mostly like they are calm and peaceful, and that's it. They do not know they don't really go through all this type of consciousness. And this type of consciousness, actually, after you practice a while, it can be seen one after another. That this process, this mental process that passing through, they are very clear state of consciousness. Yeah? A very clear state of consciousness. So this one, it's how first time you enter consciousness. Now, if you go through this, then you are going through a true, real jhana according to the Abhidhamma, according to the Tipitaka. Yeah? But of course, as I said, everybody, they can interpret their own jhana. Every teacher, every monk, and every nun, and every lay people, they can interpret their own jhana nowadays. So this is what the Abhidhamma posits. Okay. All right. Subsequently, after you enter into this first jhana, that means you already have this jhanic consciousness. Wonderful, great. But practice you have to keep on, because this is not this one yet. So you have to go through all the practice, further practice. That means, may I be free from all harm and danger. May I be free from all mental suffering. May I be free from all physical suffering. Then you go through lah. You go through. And then when you go through all these things, when you come out from that jhana, you're not, let me go up again. When you come out from this jhana, you go straight into excess concentration already. You are not going into a preliminary concentration. Okay? Because why? You come out from a fixed concentration. You come out from a jhana. All the hindrances are all disappeared, gone. So you come out, you cannot say that, oh, suddenly all the hindrances, everything come in again. No. The jhana, because of the jhana, after the effect of the jhana, it will protect the mind from all the hindrances. Therefore, when you go in back to the may I be free from all mental, physical suffering, you go back to the excess concentration. You don't go into a preliminary concentration. Okay? You go to excess concentration, that means there's zero hindrances. All right. Okay? So this is the initial development of the jhana. So don't worry too much about the name of it. It's just that to show you that there are the clear consciousness is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 consciousness. A very clear consciousness that you're going to pass through. Yeah. You practice long enough, you can actually count the consciousness also. Then you know you're in jhana or not. By the time you already know already. Yeah? Okay, subsequent development. That means you want to go into the jhana again and again, and you want to stay with it for a period of time. Okay? Now, subsequent development. Okay? Here, you see here I put central consciousness, upachara samadhi. Here is where you, may I be free from all harm and danger. May I be free from zero this one. Then after that, you want to enter again into the jhana. So you go through the mind door, preparation, access, conformity. So don't worry about these names. Don't worry about this name. Now the next one is called the Vodana. Vodana consciousness, Vodana Chitta. Now the Vodana you translate as English is called cleansing. Here we don't call the change of lineage anymore, because you're already in the lineage already. You don't have to change anymore, isn't it? You're already in the lineage already. So it's still a consciousness, it's just given a different name. What you're going to experience is the same thing. Okay? Now, after that, you go into further the jhana. And then here the jhana, JH, that means with a dot. Here you can go in for a period of time. Okay, you can go in for a period of time. You can stay with the jhana for a period of time. Now the B here, while you are in jhana, doesn't mean that you're always in jhana consciousness, but you're still in jhana, but you're not really in jhana consciousness. Because sometimes you may drop, called a bhavanga. You may drop off into a bhavanga. And after that, you can go in the jhana again without exit jhana. Then after that, you go through all the consciousness of jhana, and then you can slightly drop the jhana, you go into bhavanga, and then you go back into the jhana again. Okay, so here, this process here, that you go in and out, whereas we call it the whole process is that you are still in jhana. Now here is where you predetermine your time before you enter. Let's say that time you want to enter for half an hour. You want to enter for half an hour. So here, this whole process here will going to last about half an hour. If you predetermine it for 1 hour, then 1 hour lah. 1.5 hours. It depends on how much you want to predetermine. But this predetermined time, it also comes with more and more practice on her. Doesn't mean that from initial development of jhana, then suddenly you want the next one. You want to go 5 hours sitting, one shot go. Cannot. Slowly, tampok lah, a little bit, you get into more and more jhana. So after that, you predetermine your time. You use this jhana again and again. You come in and then you work on it again and again and again and again. Morning you go in jhana, afternoon you go in jhana, night you go in jhana, next day you go in jhana. Then you can go in jhana for as you like. So you got a predetermined time. So after that, when you finish that jhana, then they'll be coming out with a vibrating and then arresting again. Then it stops all this jhana process. And then what happened? It come out with, may I be free from all suffering. May I be free from all physical suffering. It comes out with the central consciousness. Okay? So here is the where you have a subsequent development of jhana. Only when you exit jhana is at somewhere at the B and V here. You exit. This is called we exit the jhana. Whereas when you are in jhana, there's bhavanga a little bit here and there. That is not really exiting yet. But only when you come out into the central consciousness, then that is jhana. Then only you are exiting jhana. So you have the beginning part, you have the entering, then you have staying power, you have the stay, and then you have the exiting. Okay. Now here also with this jhana thing, then you have this mastery. You can able to what we call to master the jhana. Take for example, one of the mastery of the jhana is to master when you want to enter. How? Or like for example, you meditate. May I be free from harm and danger. Your mind is clear. Okay, now enter jhana. You go into jhana already. This is all about training only. It's all about training. If you can able to master it, it can go into the jhana very fast. Then the second one is that you want to predetermine the time. How long you want to sit. This is also another mastery. You can set it to a certain time for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and so on. And then also you want to exit the jhana. When you want to exit the jhana, also there's a predetermined. The mind is already predetermined, and then that means you can come out as you want, whenever you want. That means you are making yourself very skillful into entering, staying, getting out from this first jhana. Okay? So you do all these things again and again and again and again and again and again and again until you get fed up with the jhana. Until you get fed up with the jhana. Alright? Then that time you can start thinking of the second jhana already. Yeah? When it comes to the second jhana, same thing. The initial development of the jhana, you're going to go through this one, except that this JH here, the jhana, will be a second jhana consciousness. Second rupa vachara consciousness. Okay? Then you want to go in the third one, also the same thing. The third rupa vachara or fine material consciousness. So that's why the whole development of this jhana, there's a very clear cut in Abhidhamma. And also the subsequent development of the jhana is also a very clear cut thing. It's not something that anybody say, and whether this jhana or that jhana. Can? I see some of your face already all question mark already. I don't know what is he talking about. Let him talk lah. Okay, understand, no problem. Just to share with you, there is something that is a very clear cut about jhana. Not simply just say that there's jhana or who says what jhana. So just to make it very clear. Yeah. Okay. Indicators for jhana. Okay. Whether this indicator for jhana, although they are mentioned in the suttas and also in the commentary, but whether you can able to notice it or not, that's another different thing. Okay, one of the indicators of jhana that we all well know now, let's say the first jhana. Then the first jhana, you have this 5 jhanic component, all right? You have this 5 jhanic component. All right. Now you have this vitaka, vichara, piti, sukha, ekagata. Okay, then you say that I've seen this vitaka, vichara, piti, sukha, ekagata. Does that mean you have jhana? Just because you see this initial application, vitaka, vichara is a sustained application of the mind. Piti is joy or zest. Sukha here is pleasant feelings of the mind. Ekagata here is the concentration. All right, you see these 5 components of this one. After you come out from the jhana, although I said that after that you start with may I be free from suffering, or may I be free from all, may all beings be free from suffering, and so on, While you're doing it, there is the vitaka, vichara, piti, sukha, and ekagata. There is. But whether you can able to define them clearly or not, that is again is another thing. Because this one, you need the wisdom faculty to be very sharp. Just imagine, while you're practicing, while you're meditating vipassana or samata, can you differentiate which one is vitaka and which one is vichara? Then you'll be thinking, which one is which? Hearing and listening to it like what we are doing right now, it's easy. 5 things only, it's easy. But actually when you come out from it, it is not clear at all if your mind is not sharp. So these 5 components, when the Buddha says the first jhana, you have these 5 components, but you cannot define them while you are in jhana. You can only define them when you're out of the jhana, because it's sort of like you will still carry these 5 components out into the excess concentration. And then that time, you can able to define them one after another if your wisdom factor is clear. When the Buddha mentioned all these things, 5 components, those people who listen to the Buddha, their faculties are very sharp, are very keen. They are very keen. So when they are very keen, they can able to define these things. And when they say they are very keen, I go up again. Let me go up again. When they say it's keen, they are on these keen faculties here now. This one here, be without this, what we call a preparatory consciousness here. The reason there's keen and average faculties, what are you going to do with this jhana, all these different levels of jhana that we all know that in the suttas there are 4 levels of jhana, right? In Abhidhamma there are 5 levels of jhana. So which is which right now? Now, according to the commentaries, those with keen faculties, these keen faculties are here, they experience 4 rupa jhanas. Not 5, they experience 4. But for those average faculties, like you and me and so on, we're going to experience 5 levels of jhana. We somehow or another, when the average faculties, when you are good in your class, sometimes when you are young, those people are very good, very brilliant one, they can jump a class one. So the same thing, those people with keen faculties, they experience 4 levels of jhana, and with the average faculties, you're going to experience 5 levels of jhana because of the wisdom factor. The wisdom factor. Sometimes people will debate whether it's 4 jhana, 5 jhana. No, it's not about that. It's about how strong your wisdom faculty is. This one is according to commentary. But if you want to know more about all these things, the best thing is that you go and practice until jhana and then different level of jhana. Then you can answer it for yourself. And other than that, all of us will be debating here and there. So let me go down again. So these 5 components of jhana, you need a strong concentration, especially your wisdom factor in order to differentiate these 5. They will be there. It's just that whether you can have the ability to do it or not, that is another thing. Okay? Sound. Is sound a good indicator for jhana? Yeah? Sound is a good indicator for jhana. Here, it all depends. It all depends. When you initial development of the jhana, and also after a few times of jhana, you weren't able to hear anything out there. One of the thing people say that because this sound, it's sensual thing, this thing. Whereas when you go into the jhana consciousness, which is rupa, vachara, chitta, and then there is sound, fine material consciousness. When you say this is sound, they are not in the hearing process. It's not a sensual process. So a lot of people says that sound, you may not able to hear it. Partially right, not completely right, I think. Why? Now, here sound, it's initially, when you develop this jhana, and you develop this jhana first few times, that you are newly entered into the first jhana, and then subsequent a few times you entered into a jhana, that time, you may not hear anything outside. You may not hear anything outside. Yeah? Because of their concentration is tremendously powerful. But subsequently, when you can able to master the jhana and so on, then it's another different thing already. Because here, another different thing is because of this bhavanga is here. Because of the bhavanga. The bhavanga here is the mind door. So a lot of sensual things are being presented at the mind door. Yeah? So sometimes people say that if you are completely in jhana, you will not hear. Yes, initially yes, but subsequently it may not be so. But you don't have to take my word for it, This is my way, my this one. So it's up to you to go and experience the whole thing. Yeah? Whether subsequently you're going to have jhana or you're going to hear or not, is this one. But then again, and there's another thing. Yeah? Whether sound should it be good for indicator of jhana? Is this again? Sometimes there are some yogis. You are not within jhana also. They cannot hear anything already. They are not in jhana, but they already cannot hear anything. Their mind is totally like all off already. Here is one of the thing is that when you're over concentration, when you're going to a very deep state of mind, they cannot hear anything, but they are not in jhana yet. Just because they cannot hear anything, they read the book. Hey, I didn't hear anything just now. I come out my whole say, hello. You thought that without hearing anything, you come out, you thought that as jhana already. That also is not right. That also is not right because the over concentration can give rise to this, all your senses as if like it is being cut off. So that could be another problem, So it doesn't mean that sound is always a good indicator. It's not a good indicator. Sometimes I have the simile that when you do something that you first time you can able to achieve it. Let's say it's a task that you have to pay a lot of concentration to do it. Then, for example, for this weightlifter, let's say 50 kg. You're going to carry 50 kg. That first time when you're able to lift up the 50 kg, first time, let's say, because you have been building up your muscle and everything, you're able to lift up that 50 kg. And then, first time when you're doing it, you don't even hear outside what is going on. So your mind and body is fully concentrate on lifting that particular weight. So your senses is all totally, whatever people talk about it, doesn't matter. You don't have attention to all those things. But subsequently, when your body is already strong and you can able to lift this 50 kg again and again, to you, it's like it's become easy already after that. Then you can able to hear what is going on, what is people talking beside you, and you can still able to lift it up, and does not matter. Something like that. So it's the same thing. When it comes into a jhana, also the same thing. When subsequently, whether there's going to be like that or not, whether you can able to hear or not, then that will be for you to go and find out. So as I said, this sound is not a very good indicator. Although when in jhana, first few times, there's no sound, you're not able to hear. But for those, there are yogis who even before jhana, they're not able to hear anymore. So that is it. Sound is another thing that you have to be careful. Okay. Now, next one this is entering jhana. For all levels of jhana are the same, except for the different or specific jhana consciousness only. Okay. Entering all levels of jhana, that means whether you are in the first jhana all the way to the 8th jhana or 9th jhana, depending on how you want to see, whether this is a fine material or immaterial consciousness, they are all, how you enter, they're all the same. Other words, let me go up this one. Other words, every initial development of the jhana are all the same, except this JH will be first jhana consciousness or second jhana consciousness or third jhana consciousness or fourth jhana consciousness. That is the difference. Okay, those are the difference only. So the process here are all the same. Every process are all the same. Okay, they are all the same. So too, when subsequent development of this jhana are also the same. It's just a different level, different consciousness, whether first consciousness or second consciousness, and so on. Why is it that they are different? It is important because the different consciousness will give rise to different rebirth. Which realm of existence are you going to be there? The first Brahma realm, or second Brahma realm, or third Brahma realm, or fourth Brahma realm, or immaterial realm, depending on that consciousness, and that consciousness produce the result in this arupa or the rupa world or the rupa realms. So they are entering are all the same, except for the different consciousness only. Okay, so far? Now, next one. The second one is more interesting. Entering for all kinds of samatha meditation are the same. They will pass through the same those same consciousness. All kinds of samatha, that means that if you go through anapanasati, by the way of you doing it samatha meditation, then when you attain the first jhana first jhana level, also again let me go back. You also will go through this jhanic development. If you start with Mettā, you when you have Jhana, also you go through this. When you go through Anapana, when you reach the Jhana, you also go through this. You do compassion, you will go through this. You will always go through this level of this consciousness, all these mental processes. Okay, now because of that one, you can, all this samatha meditation will pass through this same process. That means if you have one jhana level, and you know that all this consciousness is passing through, then more or less you're going to open up your power of your meditation in samatha into all forms of samatha meditation already. And this is interesting, because even if you do not have started compassion meditation, let's say you already have Jhana, Mettā in Jhana already, but you haven't started off with compassion meditation. But you know how compassion Jhana will come up, right? Because the Jhana will come up the same as Mettā Jhana also. So you know an end, but you do not know how to begin only. Correct or not? Let me repeat again. Let me repeat again. Let's say you already attained the first jhana, okay? And perhaps maybe you will also attain second jhana or third jhana or fourth jhana, let's say you attain the first jhana of Mettā, all right? You attain the first jhana of Mettā, and you are very experienced in the first jhana of Mettā, and you can go in and out, and you are mastery over it. Well and good, perfect. Then I said that if you are able to entering the first jhana, that means all samatha meditation will enter the same way as what the Mettā jhana entered. All the same way. Now, you haven't started anapanasati yet, but you know how this jhana will come about. You know how the end was like. You have not started compassion meditation yet, but you already know how it's going to end already. You haven't started kasina meditation, but you know how the kasina meditation will end with the first jhana, how the jhana will come in. So other words, you know the ending, you do not know the beginning. And then that is interesting. Because for you all, let's say you know the beginning, but you do not know how the ending is like. And that is dangerous, because any ending, you can interpret it to be any ending. You can interpret it to be like any form of mental experience, but be jhana already. So You do not know how the ending is like. But now you know the ending. You just do not know how it begins only. And then it becomes interesting. It's just like, you know what is Kuala Lumpur? You know what is KL? You've been there so many times. Then somebody were to put you somewhere else, a road you do not know. Then you go, you go move on this road, and then you go here, go there, go there, go there. You know that when you reach a certain city, or certain, you know that that one is not KL yet. This is not KL yet. Then you go on. Then you know this is KL because you have seen it before. Then another time you put you on another road. You have never been to that road, but you know the ending. So you keep on moving. Then you come to the ending. And you reach Kuala Lumpur. Right? So do the same thing. When you develop other form of samata meditation, then it opens up an avenue. It opens up a potential, that you're going to be able to attain. You know how the ending is like. It's just that you do not know how the beginning will take place. But many times I said, anything that you want to, any samatha you want to develop, make sure you come with mindfulness, because the mindfulness will guide you to stay with the right cause, to stay with the right object. So after you practice, let's say, after you attain your Mettā Jhana, now you want to go into Anapanasati. You want to attain Jhana from Anapanasati. So let's say you start off with Anapana. You try. You know that the mind getting very not clear. That one is not Jhana yet. You know already. You go into like the mind is over concentrated, very calm, very peaceful. You know that one is still not Jhana yet, because you have seen Jhana already. Then you try you keep on trying, and then finally you hit the Jhana. You hit the Anapanasati Jhana already. So now you have Mettā Jhana and you have Anapanasati Jhana. Because why? Because all the Jhana will end the same way. So you open up an avenue. So other words, depending on your potential, whether you have the potential to develop those things or not. Some people, let's say, for example, they have potential in developing Anapanasati, but they don't have much potential in developing Metta. So they don't want to go into Metta. Although they know the Jhana, let's say. Kasina, for example. You can able to develop the Kasina if you want to. If you have the potential, if you have the desire, then you can able to do it. You know the ending. You are not going to able, you know that not going to be able to stop halfway here and there. Yeah? So it becomes interesting. It becomes one jhana, you can open up so many potential in your samatha development. So therefore, so the jhana will be interesting. Okay. The next thing before we go, then of course we come into whether the debate about, should I get jhana first before I attain enlightenment or not? Should I have jhana or no jhana? Is it okay to have jhana to get enlightenment, or no jhana is also okay? Yeah, you have all this debate now. This debate is an age-old debate already, And if you have whichever camp that you are in, whichever camp you want to say that, oh, you must have jhana first, then only you can get your enlightenment, or your path and fruition. No jhana, no enlightenment. Some people said that. Some monks said that. Some nuns said that. Some lay people said that. Some people says that no need jhana one. You no need jhana also can attain enlightenment. Some people says that if you have jhana, also can attain. If you don't have jhana, also can attain. Now, what is the position here? What is this one? Now, in the commentaries, it mentioned that you can have samata yanika or vipassaka yanika. Vipassaka yanika, that means you don't have jhana to attain enlightenment. But for samata yanika, that means you attain the first jhana or more before you attain enlightenment. But again, there are some people interpret that you must have jhana thing. So all these things are age-old debate. usually I don't want to go into all this debate, because to me all this debate is all like masak, you're playing masak, you're going to debate this, debate that, debate. You can practice until you get, then only you talk about it now. So sometimes it's very difficult to this one, because they are scholarly, they can able to extract all kinds of sutta according to what they think. And then another group of people will extract all kinds of sutta, abhidhamma, whatever kind of thing. And then all these are age-old argument. Yeah. The position of the Theravada is this. The position is that if without jhana, you also can attain enlightenment. With jhana, you also can attain enlightenment. Yeah? Anyway, we stop here for now. Yeah? So all these things, although you may not able to understand it much, just I want to say that entering of jhana is a very specific thing. It's not just anybody say any kind of jhana as they like, It's a very specific thing according to this one. Once you understand it, the specificity of this development of this jhana, then we can understand how we're going to be able to develop the jhana subsequently, and so on. With these things, then you open up in many areas of samata development. Okay. So this is what I'm talking about tonight. If you don't get it, next time you hopefully you'll repeat the Dharma Talk again on Facebook. Now before we go, on this Wednesday, and this Reverend Sujiva will give a Dharma Talk. Reverend Sujiva will give a Dharma Talk. He's supposed to give the talk on. I asked him whether you can. He gave the talk last week or not, but he couldn't make it, because then this week, then only he can able to make it. So Wednesday, you come in at this one. Wednesday, you come in at the talk will start at 8:30 p.m. All right. The same Zoom password, the same Zoom ID that what we are doing right now. Yeah. Here our limit of this Zoom thing is only 300 people only. Now, if you cannot able to get in, you go into the Facebook Live. You go into the Facebook Live that we're going to live it also in this one. So if you want to come in, make sure that you come in early. You make sure that the first time when we did it, some people cannot able to enter Zoom already, because they come in already 8:25 already. It's all full already, So make sure you come in about 8:15, 8:10, something like that. So we're going to turn on the Zoom a bit earlier. So if you want to listen from Zoom, you come in a bit earlier. So Wednesday 8:30 p.m. This thing. This is not 8:45, 8:30 p.m. Okay. So next one on Friday. Yeah, Friday we have a Q&A session. I'm going to put up this one on then you can ask any question on Abhidhamma or Dhamma or Sutta or Mettā or whatever already. Not only on this one. So that will be on Friday. Okay. So on Wednesday, so you do come in. All right. Okay. So now let us go back to this one. So okay. So enough for tonight now. So we share merits.